Hi, everyone. In this lecture, we're going to talk about Dalton's law. So Dalton's law, this is also called the law of partial pressure. It says that the total pressure of a mixture of gases is equal to the sum of the partial pressures of the component gases. For example, if I had a mixture of oxygen gas and nitrogen gas, I could see that when we mix them together, that total pressure, which right here you can see is 752 millimeters of mercury, is equal to the sum of those two pressures if just oxygen was by itself and just nitrogen was by itself. So 159 plus 593 is equal to 752 millimeters of mercury. So this is the definition of Dalton's law of partial pressure. We get a couple equations with this. The first one has to do with how the pressure due to one gas is proportional only on a mole basis to the total pressure. So you can't do this with weight, with grams. I should say mass, not weight. You have to convert to moles first when you do this. Okay, so this is the equation that we get for this. So the pressure of the first, or gas A, whatever, gas one, is going to be equal to the moles of gas A over the total moles present times the total pressure. You can also see that the moles of gas A over moles total, that's like a percentage. So you can also use this equation right here. It is the pressure of gas A is equal to the decimal of the percent of gas A. So for example, if it's 50%, that's 0.5 for the decimal of the percent, times the total pressure. And then the third equation that we get for Dalton's law is Dalton's law itself, which is just the total pressure is equal to the pressure of gas A plus the pressure of gas B plus the pressure of gas C plus dot, 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 depending on, of course, how many gases we have in this mixture of gases. So you just add up all the pressures of each gas in our mixture to get the total pressure of the mixture of gases. So let's do a problem. So for our example, we have 4.6 grams of hydrogen and 16 grams of helium are in a container with a total pressure of 3 atmospheres. Determine the partial pressures for hydrogen and helium. So first and foremost, we can see that we have the masses in grams of these things. So I don't want mass, I first have to convert to moles. So we have 4.6 grams of hydrogen, gosh, and I'm converting that to moles since it is H2, because hydrogen is, of course, a Bringelhoff element. We have 1 mole of hydrogen is 2 grams. And so using our mole conversions there, grams cancels out, and we get 2.3 moles of hydrogen. Doing the same thing for helium, I have 16 grams of helium, and converting that to moles, there is 4 grams in 1 mole of helium. And so 16 grams divided by 4 is equal to 4 moles of helium. So my total moles here is going to be that 2.3 moles of hydrogen plus 4 moles of helium, which is 6.3 moles total. So now using my first equation, we have the pressure of hydrogen is equal to the moles of hydrogen over the total moles times the total pressure. So we end up getting, let me move myself, we end up getting 3.2 moles of hydrogen, which we got before, over the total moles of 6.3 times the total pressure, which was 3 atmospheres. And so here we get 1.1 atmospheres. So that is going to be the partial pressure of hydrogen gas in this mixture. Now we could use the same equation right here for the moles of helium. It would just be 4 over 6.3 times 3. We could also use just our Dalton's law. So this one right here, the total pressure will be equal to the partial pressure of hydrogen plus the partial pressure of helium. And so using this equation here, I know the total pressure is that 3 atmospheres, and then we just found our pressure of hydrogen, which is 1.1 atmospheres. So plugging those in, now all I have to do is subtract 1.1 from 3 in order to get my partial pressure of helium, which is 1.9 atmospheres. So that's our answers. We have the partial pressure of hydrogen is 1.1 and the partial pressure of helium is 1.9. So that is our example for Dalton's law. It is pretty simple. So this first law that we're learning is pretty simple. Remember, if you get grams, you want to convert to moles. The one example we didn't do is when you have a decimal of a percent. So if you're given the percentages of gas, so a mixture of gases is 20% oxygen, 40% helium, and 40% hydrogen or something like that, and the total pressure is blank. All you do is multiply the decimal of the percent by the total percent to find the partial pressures of each gas. So that's a pretty simple one as well. You have a problem set up on Canvas, so make sure to show all your work when doing that problem set. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.